Sometimes I think we become very accustomed to things and we don't ever think about the meaning of them or the significance of them. And every Sunday when you come to Mass, the reader walks up the aisle carrying the book of the Gospels high over her head or over his head. And the priest walks immediately behind. And then when it comes to the reading of the Gospel, the priest before that, again, he holds the book up high and he parades with the book over to the place where he's going to read the good news of the Lord. And do you believe the good news of the Lord? That comes up in the Gospel this morning. Talking to priests and confreres, many priests today are afraid to get up and preach what is in the book of the Gospels. They're afraid to get up and speak the truth because they'll tell you half the church might walk out. Sad, but it's true. Many people today don't want to hear the truth. We live in a society, we live in a country at the moment where deceit and lies and dishonesty and people being put down and called all kinds of names seems to be the norm. And what do? We say, don't do anything. You might say, or a lot of priests will say, well, we can't be political. How can you not be political? Jesus was very political because he spoke the truth. And if I stand here every Sunday after Sunday and only talk about what I think you might like to hear, rather than what is in the book of the Gospels, what am I doing here? Am I doing what Jesus wants me to do? No. No, I'm not. And if I don't say anything, then it means I agree with the status quo, and by agreeing with the status quo, I am being political. So, you can't have it both ways. And look at what's happening today around us and in our country. It's no good. Honestly, it's no good coming to Mass on a Sunday and being present here every Sunday at Mass and then going out and being the same as anybody else. You have a calling, I have a calling to be different. And so, if you go out there and like everybody else, you're into power and you're into dishonesty and deceit and war, what difference? Even the pagans do as much. That's what Jesus said in the Gospel this morning. In the first reading, Jesus said, you got to love your enemy. You got to love your neighbor. Well, hopefully we do that. But then, in the Gospel, he brought it to the nth degree. He said, love your enemies. Can you see that happening in this country today? Can you honestly see it happening? Love your enemies. We do the opposite. We condemn people. We build walls against people. How does that fit in with the Gospel? Love your enemies. That's what Jesus asked us to do. You might say, What can I do about it? I'm only a very insignificant person. That's an excuse. Oh, no, you're not. Each one of us has the power to do something about it by living the truth of the gospel and not fooling ourselves and deceiving ourselves. You can go out there and you can be different and you can stand up for what is right. It doesn't matter. It's not what party or anything else you might follow. You've got to stand up for the truth or pay the consequences. And we're going to be judged. We're going to be judged on that. And to go along with everything that's happening today, you got to think about it. You got to begin praying about it. You need to pray for your country here at the moment. You need to pray for this president. You need to pray for what you see people going through. You need to try and do something about it. At least stand up and be recognized as somebody who does not agree with everything that you see happening at the moment. You have the power to do it and live the gospel, and what a transformation it could bring about. You could change the way people look at things. Each one of us has an amazing influence if we dare to use it. But what do we find? It's into what is best for me. And talk about loving our enemies. We don't very often even love our neighbors because all we're worried about is what is best for me. I had to think a lot about standing up here this morning and saying that. And I presume some people at this moment don't agree with me, but I'm happy that I had the courage to speak the truth. And I'm thankful to you that you didn't walk out, that you gave me the freedom to be honest and to speak the truth this morning. And thank you for listening to me, and thank you for that. Amen. Thanks.